So, this is an exploration of how much of your identity is based on what other people think about you. Hi everyone. So, yesterday I had a very interesting realization about myself, which said there are parts of me, the way I behave or the way I believe that I am, comes not purely from me, but from what other people think about me or how other people perceive me. And this might sound as a very fairly normal thing, but before this, I sort of vaguely knew about this, and I had no idea that this could actually be a real thing. And it became, one of those realizations when you know something technically, but there comes a time when you're like, so that's what it meant, like real felt experience in your body. So I explored this question more and I found out a couple of interesting things about myself, and I had, prior to this experience, no idea that this even could be a possibility. So I decided to share this thing with you and how you can coax out more information about yourself, introspecting, interrogating yourself inside your head. I went ahead and tried to systematize this thing a little bit, and the question I really ask myself is, who would you be if everyone forgot about you? Imagine when you wake up tomorrow morning, everybody in this world who had any association of you or knows you in any way, shape, or form, have come across your work or even had like a glimpse of you somewhere in the street, completely, totally forget about you, and that includes your boyfriend and your partner and your parents and your friends, everybody. And when you take this very seriously and really start imagining, like, okay, if I wake up tomorrow and this is what happens, first of all, you can start to panic, but really go through this thought to find out the treasures it can give to you. Before I move into some other things, I want to talk about why I chose this question over the question, what if you forgot everything that has ever happened to you and you didn't have the pain? I mean, wouldn't it be such a freedom if you could just forget all the crap that has happened to you? But I decided to not go with that question because you might have to learn the same lessons that you did, and that's not fun. So I thought this would be a better question, if other people forgot about you. So this is an exploration of how much of your identity is based on what other people think about you or remember you as. Who would you really be if people who have wronged you have forgotten that they have wronged you, or you have wronged? Okay. And who would you be if people who have helped you had forgotten? So who would you be if people who have loved you forget that they love you? Who would you be if people who have left you forgot that they left you? Who would you be if people you have left had could forget that you have left them, or people you have wronged or did something wrong to would forget that you did something wrong to them? And who would you be if the people that you control forget that you control them? And these are very interesting, according to my humble opinion, very interesting prospects to explore, because who is a king without his, little people that he rules? And to be honest, if I could really feel free from the burden of the memory in other people that I have wronged them, it really it makes me feel very light. How you would face your own conscience and come to terms with yourself, and how would you accept yourself after the things that you have done wrong is a very different question. But the very thought in and of itself, that other people who you did something wrong to do not remember, anyway. So let's dive into this one more. So if this thing happens, everybody forgot about you, nobody knows anything about you, today is your first day on earth, and you have all the money that you have accumulated, those things, let's not go there. Let's just imagine that these things are okay, and now you are totally on your own. There is nobody who's going to control you or behave in a certain way that can bring out your old reactions, because they don't know you. Okay, how would you dress up? And I know there are places where in this world where you cannot dress up as you want because you have cultural obligations or religious obligations, or but imagine that you don't have these restrictions anymore. How you see yourself dressing is what your real taste is. That's who you are authentically. But I would also like to add to this point is that the factor of rebellion, like sometimes when you are restricted to do something, and it's not just about the way you dress up, the way you do anything really. When the restriction is taken away, there is a period of famine that goes on, and you try to do that thing extensively, excessively, but then it wears out, and that's when your real expression comes out, when that famine is taken out, and now you don't have anything that you're fighting against, or the vacuum that you need to fill. You really then express yourself the way you most authentically would, and it will evolve with time. So how do you see yourself going on with your day-to-day life? What would your day look like? You wake up, what kind of breakfast, like you can go really specific with these things. What kind of breakfast do you have? What kind of food do you have? What kind of drinks do you drink? How do you walk? How do you talk to other people? How do you greet them? What is the tone of your voice? Is it like because you are such a restricted person and your parents or you feel somehow very controlled by something, and you have this tone of voice which is like, yo man, I don't give up, but what if this wasn't there anymore? Would this still be your tone? Or what kind of tone of voice would you enact? How, and this is my notes, guys. I try to be as organized as possible. What will you pursue? That's another question. If you didn't have anybody telling you that, oh, you need to be a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer, or blah blah blah, what kind of career would you pursue? In general, what would you pursue? Would you pursue dance? Would you pursue art? Would you pursue your skills in piano? You can find out these things maybe you already know it, but I didn't a little bit. So yeah, anyway. Uh, uh, so yeah, I think I covered most of the questions. And let me know what other questions you asked yourself, and if you want and if it is possible, you can share this information with me. It would be very interesting to know what you found out. I want to add a little note here for people who have very difficult parents, or someone who is controlling basically their life right now. And even though it could be also a partner, because I have met a lot of people who are not happy in their relationships. They don't like certain aspects of their partners, they hate it, but they are not ending this relationship. So you might find out that if this is your parent, you might very much like the amount of comfort, the money, the lifestyle they have afforded you, and you cannot let go of this comfort, and that's why you are not taking the actions to become independent. Or this partner who is basically controlling you is certainly fulfilling one of your needs or many of your needs, which you find to be very important. It could be safety, it could be the need of cuddling in bed at night, I don't know, stuff like that. And you find yourself unable to let go of these attachments, and that's why you're not going away. But if that's the case, you maybe can stop complaining about it all the time, or let go of your attachments to hugs in the bed and dining out at restaurants, or that kind of cigarettes, or that kind of like branded clothes. You can let go of those attachments and really move on and do stuff with your life. And last but not least, you might find out stuff about yourself that you absolutely hate, you cannot accept about yourself. My request to you would be to not waste time on judging yourself, like really spare yourself the judgment, because if you are trying to become more aware of yourself, you certainly want to become better, and judging yourself will not make you better. You're just wasting time saying stuff like, oh, I'm just such a it doesn't help you. If you don't like it, simply change it. And it is not going to be a one-day process, it's a lifelong process, but it's one day we'll get there, and tomorrow we'll be in a little bit better position than we were yesterday. So that's all that there is, really. I hope this has helped you. I found it very interesting exploring myself in my imaginary lab without any real repercussions. And I would really love to hear your experiences if you follow through this and ask yourself these questions, and maybe add to this method if you want to. And yeah, that's about it. I'll take your leave today, and I'll come back another time when I have something more interesting to talk about.